Donnie and Dolly, the team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
The first cities that will be announced will be the cities in the West. And I am pleased to announce the first city, the beautiful city of Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
Wow, Vancouver, I remember what an exciting Women's World Cup final there. So the ambience is going to be amazing.
It will be electric, like many events that have been hosted there before.
Epic.
Absolutely. Epic.
That was yesterday in New York. Vancouver's Victor Montagliani making the announcement that Vancouver will indeed host matches 2026 World Cup of Soccer. Today's guests, including Victor, who's standing by, are brought to you by Langley Chrysler. Enjoy no-hassle 3-day returns and 30-day exchanges on all used vehicles, so you can make sure what you get is just right for you and one of the largest inventories in BC. Don't just love your car, love buying it at langleychrysler.com. He's the president of CONCACAF, Victor Montagliani. We just saw him making that announcement yesterday. He joins us now as we find out yesterday that Vancouver will indeed be hosting World Cup 2026 matches. Victor, thanks. I know you're busy. Thanks so much for doing this. How are you, sir?
Very good. How are you guys?
Very well, very well. As a Vancouverite, was it hard to contain your excitement making that announcement yesterday?
Yeah, of course. It's first of all, as a Canadian, you're always, our sport is always based on a national basis. So it was exciting when we won the bid 4 years ago, and obviously being an integral part of that. And then obviously this is very, it was a great day yesterday for the sport in our country and for our region. And obviously being born and raised in Vancouver, East Vancouver specifically, I guess. It was obviously a very proud moment.
Yeah, and of course we should mention that Toronto will also host matches 2026. What sold FIFA on Vancouver and BC Place, Victor? Because of course initially BC said no to this.
Yeah, so I think we've always said all along that we always, from a FIFA perspective, we always want to make the decision in the best interest of the tournament, because we have a fiduciary duties to 211 members that rely on the World Cup and sort of the assets of it from a development standpoint. A lot of countries rely on it. And so, in terms of having Vancouver come back in, those discussions came about not, in terms of maybe about a year or so ago. And we entertained those discussions because we felt it could be an interesting situation with respect to the tournament itself. Vancouver and the province of British Columbia did everything everybody else did in terms of the process. And we just felt in terms of making the decision, it was a very difficult. I think every city was put their best foot forward. But, you can't really pick 24, and we had to pick who we picked. And obviously Vancouver was successful. Specifically Vancouver, a great history of hosting the Women's World Cup, obviously, which I was proud to chair. Obviously, the geography of Vancouver is obviously an important element. The stadium infrastructure is pretty solid. And we all, Vancouver's got an international reputation, but, there's nothing really specific. There's a lot of analysis and data that goes on there, too much to probably go into. But in the end, we made not an easy decision, but we're very happy with the decisions that we made yesterday.
Victor, leading up to 2026, do you see Vancouver getting a lot more events possibly leading up to that time?
That's the great thing about the World Cup. It's not just about the X amount of games you're going to get in 2026 in a 30-day period. It's everything that the World Cup now brings. You're now a World Cup country and a World Cup city. And there's many events along the way, whether it's being through the National Federation, like friendlies, whether it be the World Cup itself in terms of a lot of other assets. And it's not just the host cities. It's even the cities that weren't announced where that can be part of the World Cup, whether it be through FanFest, whether through the base camps for teams. So you can get a piece of the World Cup without actually having games. And that's the beauty of an event that is a national event unlike, I know we hosted the Olympics, but the Olympics is specific to a city, not a country. And so that's a big difference between an event like the World Cup. It's about a country.
Victor, this last year has been great. Canada's really got behind the Canadian soccer team. You talk to a lot of people around the world. Where is the respect level for the Canadian national soccer team in your eyes right now, globally?
Yeah, listen, I think it's not there yet. I got to be honest with you. It's there, but it's not where you think it is, because qualifying is one thing, having success at that level is another. Right. And it's also the sustainability of it. It's and as I said, I think this is the beginning of our journey. I mean, it's great that we qualified. Boys did a fantastic job, but it's the sustainability of that. It's going to the next World Cup and then the next World Cup, and having even success in CONCACAF. Going to a Nations League Final Four, winning the Gold Cup. It's not about the last 14 games. It's about the next 414 games. Sustainability of that, and I think this is the beginning for us. Obviously, we're all excited. We know what can come. As we see, obviously, we have a young team, but also the pipeline seems to be pretty full in terms of some of the young talent we see in and around the Canadian Premier League and some of our MLS academies and the MLS, and some of the young players that are going off to Europe. So it's a discussion that it's a question that I love to answer in 2032, heading to the 2034 World Cup, what kind of a footballing nation we are. And I'm optimistic about it. And it's same with the women. If you would ask me this question in 1991 when we had the U20s, we went to the final with the U.S., I would have given you the same answer. But now, in 2022, with the sustainability of our women's program, it's pretty easy to say that we're a force to be reckoned with, and the respect of our women's program internationally is there because we've been doing it for 20 years.
Right. I know you're not I don't think you're a gardener or a landscaper, but how difficult will it be to put real grass into BC Place, which has to happen?
Donnie, if I didn't have an Italian name, I would have took offense to that, being a landscape gardener. So, yeah, and my buddies in Burnaby, my buddies in Burnaby, but the Mosconis landscaping there would probably answer that question better than I can. So no, listen, it's not a really difficult process. Like everything in the world, technology has advanced quite a bit. And it's not about putting grass. You've seen it in others where you come in and it's kind of dead grass because it's only one game. The installation that will be put in pretty much every stadium, other than I think a couple, including the big NFL stadiums, it'll be a sort of a installation where the grass is alive and has to breathe, and so it'll be the pitch you see at BC Place will be no different than the pitch you'll see at Anfield, at San Siro, at the stadiums we see on a weekly basis in Europe. It'll be a live pitch. It'll be it'll be the highest quality. And the technology obviously is there, and it will not be a difficult process.
Grass is alive in Vancouver, Victor. I just don't know if you want to play soccer on it. Hey, one more, Victor. Yeah. I got to hold your feet to the fire. You got a lot of response. You said yesterday, I think you were quoting somebody else, that soccer will one day be the biggest sport in North America. Do you stand by that? Again, you didn't necessarily make the statement, but somebody else did. Do you stand by that?
Yeah, I was FIFA president, Gianni Infantino. Yeah, so I thanked him for that statement because I said, yeah, you can fly away and they'll be asking me that question, like you are right now.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what? Listen, I look at it this way. I think in a lot of ways it already is a massive sport from a participation level. I think it's not so much whether you're number one or number two. It's really the relevancy of the sport, the relevancy that you find in the media, the relevancy you find at the commercial end of the game. Because in a lot of ways, from a bum and seat standpoint and participation, it's already there. And if you take the microcosm of Vancouver, and growing up in Vancouver, and if you harken back to Empire Stadium in the late 70s and early 80s, I humbly suggest that the Whitecaps were a bigger thing than the Canucks. Yeah. And I'm not sure. So that isn't a short, obviously, sample size. But if you have sustainability and success, like I think we can at the national team level, and then you bring that down to a club level, there's no reason why the relevancy of the sport will be a much higher level than it is now. Where whether you're number 1A, whatever, but it's there in sort of the DNA, and really you got to do it at the media level. Let's be honest, right? Where it is the leading story, rather than talking about game 48 of the NHL season. And so I think it's more that, to be honest with you, and it's sort of, you kind of know it when you see it, and I think we're on the road to it. And whether we get there by 26 or not, I guess time will tell. But I support the FIFA president's comment.
You made time for us today. I know you're so busy. Victor, thanks so much for this, and congratulations to CONCACAF, to you, and certainly the cities of Vancouver and Toronto.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Victor.
Victor Montagliani, CONCACAF president.